The Twins lose again in New York. A full recap of that, plus the Bison enter week 3 of camp. ESPN was in town. Why Minot North thinks they can make the Dakota Bowl. Hot Mike starts now.
Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Tuesday morning. Welcome to the Worldwide Leader was here edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning to our friends in Sioux Falls. KNBN to our friends in Western South Dakota. And Inforum.com. Happy Tuesday, everybody. August the 12th, 2025. Ready to rock and roll with a busy lineup and a show that we're going to cover the gamut here today. This is hardcore football talk now that we've reached this part of the calendar. Good morning, everybody. I am Dom Izzo, host of said show. Welcome to Hot Mike on this Tuesday, where we will hear from ESPN's Matt Berry coming up in a little bit, as I'm sure many that watch our program probably checked out a little bit yesterday of the SportsCenter 50 States in 50 Days coverage. Of course, they were in Fargo at Bison football practice yesterday. We had a chance, our guy Sam Getzinger did, to visit with Matt Berry. You'll hear that conversation. We also spoke with head coach Tim Polasek after camp wrapped up yesterday about him getting some ESPN time and also about an update of where they're at with camp as we sit now, today 18 days out from the Bison opener at the Citadel. Mentioned yesterday on the show that now everyone's practicing. The Cobbers are the last ones. Concordia's season starts a little bit later than everybody, so they're the last ones into the pool. They start next week, but everybody else is going. The Dragons are going. Our friends in the NAIA are going. Mayville State, we're going to check in on the Comets today because they start their season as early as anybody. The Dragons and the Comets are the first into the pool here 2 weeks from Thursday. 2 weeks from Thursday. And we mentioned week 0 is just right around the corner coming up in just a little bit. Also, the NBA, yeah, I know it's basketball. We're in the middle of getting ready for football, but the NBA has finally caught wind of what the NFL has done forever in terms of its dripping out of its schedule. The full schedule for the upcoming basketball season is coming out on Thursday. And this is highly anticipated for us basketball rubes because this is the first year of the new television contract that NBC's back in the mix. Amazon's in it. Obviously, ESPN and ABC are sticking around. And they've decided to drip out their schedule release on their morning programs. Like Good Morning America had some this morning. The Today Show did. NBC's really excited, folks, that they have basketball back. And the Wolves are in the mix, as you'd expect. They made the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. They should be. So we've got a couple of tidbits on the Wolves' schedule that we'll get to in just a few minutes. Excited to share that. But we'll start our program with we'll rip the Band-Aid off because the Twins were playing at Yankee Stadium last night. And I think we know how this will go. Even if I don't even need to show you the highlights, I can tell you it's the same old of how they played last night at Yankee Stadium. But the Yankees would hit home runs, and a lot of them. Cody Bellinger hammers one off Zebby Matthews to start. And these are not wall scrapers. Giancarlo Stanton, whenever he hits the ball, normally goes a long ways. Again, that's not just creeping over the wall, folks. That's nearly 400 feet. They added somebody named Ben Rice, their catcher. Never heard of him, but he looked like Roger Maris cranking that one out. Made it a 3-0 game. He got all of that one. That was the longest home run of the 3 that they hit. Byron Buxton is back, activated before the game, and he got into the swing of things. Gets into this one off Will Warren for a home run. Cuts it to a 3-1 deficit. Trevor Larnach, boy, he got around on that one, did he not? I mean, these guys just going up there and hitting, swinging as hard as they can. This is what the Twins season is going to be, folks, for the next 6 weeks. Guys are going to get up there, and they're going to take their hacks. This guy also will get his hacks in. Judge hits a base hit to left. That would score Anthony Volpe. Yankees would build a 5-2 lead. They weren't done. Jazz Chisholm would get him. Of course, remember, he was in the home run derby. That made it a 6-2 score. Yankees go on and win that by a 6-2 final yesterday to open up. Zebby Matthews takes the loss. He drops to 3-4 on the year. He struck out 9. And again, as we go forward here for the next 6 weeks of this baseball season, wins and losses to me are not going to be nearly as important as how the younger players are performing, like Zebby Matthews was. Now, the one headline yesterday, again, in a year where they've had, I would say 2 years where they've had some horrendous headlines. This is not a good one either from the Star Tribune that came out today. Headline, Twins flirting with worst fan turnout in Target Field history. Minnesota's on pace to sell 1.8 million tickets this year, down from 1.95 million last year. After averaging 24,000 fans per game last season, the Twins are averaging 22,298. That ain't good, folks. We've showed you different shots of highlights or screenshots. There's nobody there. That game yesterday we were talking about on the Kansas City broadcast with the lack of enthusiasm. Still, there was nobody in the ballpark when the Royals were in town. Attendance has dropped 43% since 2010, which, of course, that was the first year the Target Field was open. And I went down there. I was down there several times for news. I went down a couple times just to go, and it was packed every game. And obviously the Twins are really good that year. They won the division. But it's certainly, you can only sell the idea of outdoor baseball for probably 3 or 4 years. And I mean, the Twins were bad. From 2011 to 2015, they were bad. They flirted. They made the postseason, the wild card in 15, horrendous in 16, made it again in 17, horrendous in 18. Then the Bomba Squad came in 19. We know what COVID did. And then the last couple of years, they've just meandered with either being close to competitive, obviously made the playoffs and won a series a couple of years ago, and now the last 2 years. So it doesn't surprise me that fans aren't going. Monday, April 14th, the Twins drew the smallest crowd in Target Field history with an announced attendance of 10,204. I think we showed that one back earlier this spring. And obviously with the amount of moves they made before the trade deadline, we talked about it the day after. Who's going to come see games? I have no idea. And now, I mean, the ballpark is still fantastic. I mean, they've upgraded it. They have the huge new scoreboard out there they've added, I think, new LED lights. They've changed a few of the scoreboards. The ballpark is great. It's, 16 years old now. And it's nothing to do with that. I don't believe so. I don't necessarily believe it's even expenses to go. Because it is expensive to go any sort of sporting event. That, to me, is not. It's totally related to the product on the field. 1,000% in my mind. I mean, it's not good. You know, Star Tribune talked to a few of the businesses that are around there. One of my favorites is the Loon Cafe, which is right down the street from Target Field. I frequent that place anytime I get a chance to go to a game. My wife and I would go there pre-Jackman. It's fantastic. I don't know. I mean, new ownership's got to address this as well. Just reading a couple other more anecdotes from the story here. If the Twins don't identify a new owner by the offseason, will payroll be diminished again? We talked about that they may trade Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan. The salary of Carlos Correa was shed last week in a trade to Houston. And then again, might frontline starters Pablo Lopez and Joe Ryan be sent to other teams. The Twins recently sent season ticket renewals for 2026. They won't have data until early next year to determine the impact of the sell-off. Yeah, well, and just looking real quick here on who's coming, because now we're getting closer. Obviously, we're 2 weeks out from school starting in Minnesota, so automatically attendance always takes a hit there. It just does, and that's across. I mean, you got to be really, really good for that not to impact, and it still does once school's back in session. But like what the Twins have coming up at home over the last 6 weeks of the year, the Tigers are here for 4. The A's are here. That's not. I mean, next week. Middle of next week, the A's are in town. Next Thursday afternoon at noon, unless that's like a school day game or like a daycare camp game, there ain't going to be nobody at that game. The Padres come at the right before Labor Day. That maybe because San Diego's good, and they don't come here often. Then the White Sox, no. The Diamondbacks. The Yankees are here, but unfortunately, the Yankees are here in the middle of the week in September. September 15th to the 17th. It's a Monday through a Wednesday is when the Yankees are, which I'm sure the Twins were probably not thrilled about that they couldn't flip it, get the Yankees here for a weekend and put the Diamondbacks on a weekend. And that's it. Then the Guardians come in, and that's their last home series because they end the year on the road with Texas and Philly. It's going to be a lot of empty seats, folks. I just call it like it is. I don't see that changing over the next little bit. Not with what they're trotting out there. It's not going to be pretty. Real quick before we set up the show, and we were talking about this off the top of the program, the NBA has now started to release some of its 25-26 schedule. And remember, now for those that follow, that the league has NBC with its new TV partner. And they announced its opening night schedule. Opening night is October 21st. And this is what they're going to have. They'll have the Thunder against the Rockets, 6:30 on NBC. That's Central Time. We do everything Central Time because that's where we are. Followed by Golden State and the Lakers. 48-year-old LeBron James and 41-year-old Steph Curry. That's 9 o'clock. So we're talking network TV now is going to be blown out. It's so different. We just don't see that often anymore. But NBC is all in on the NBA. And then the following night, ESPN gets the Cavs and the Knicks, followed by the Spurs and the Mavericks. And that's Cooper Flagg's NBA debut at 8:30 on ESPN. They also have announced the Christmas Day schedule, which looks like this. These games are all on WDAY. Starts with the Cavs and the Knicks at 11 a.m. Spurs and the Thunder, you're going to have the reigning champs in there at 1:30. Dallas, Golden State at 4. Houston getting a lot of love. The Rockets and the Lakers at 7. And then our beloved Timberwolves are playing the late game. Wolves, Nuggets, 9 o'clock on WDAY. And I bring that up because that's the second year in a row that the Wolves have got on Christmas Day, which if you make it that far, you should, as they have. But for you sports rubes out there, you've got a full-on decision to make now on Christmas Day because your beloved Vikings are playing on Christmas Day as well this year. Don't forget that. The Vikes play the Lions. What time is that? Is that the early game or the late game on Christmas? The middle. It's 3:30. So here you go, folks. Plan it out now. You can open presents in the morning, early afternoon. The Vikes game comes on at 3:30. Enjoy that. Have supper, visit with family, and then stay up late. You got the Wolves on at 9 o'clock that night to check out their game and it's Denver. That's good. So There you go. For TV sports departments in the upper Midwest, they are jumping up and down. They've got something to run on Christmas Day. I can tell you that right now. We have a packed show coming up for you here on this Tuesday. I mentioned you're going to hear from Matt Berry from ESPN about their stop in Fargo and NDSU football practice. We'll do that coming up on the other side of the break. Our guest lineup is brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. Mike McFeely will join me in studio coming up here in his usual 9:35 time slot. We'll react to ESPN being in town. Also, his initial impressions of Bison Fall Camp. That's coming up at 9:35. Also, a really neat project that Mike's working on. We'll spill the beans on that coming up in his guest appearance. At 10 o'clock, Rocky Larson will join us, Mayville State head football coach. It's a new era for the Comets. They are now members of the Frontier Conference. That means some longer road trips, some new teams coming to Mayville. We mentioned their season begins in just a couple weeks. We'll visit with Rocky coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, Jacob Holmen will join us, head coach of the Minot North Sentinels, off a trip to the state semifinals a year ago. And we talked about all the changes in 2A football. The reigning champs are gone. Horace is gone. Central Cass and Kindred are now in the mix. Minot North figures to be one of the teams to contend. Can they take that extra step and make it to the Dakota Bowl? We'll talk with Coach Holmen about that at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Tuesday. We're glad you're joining us. We're just getting started. Hot Mike back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV, KNBN, and Inforum.com. Welcome back, everybody, on a beautiful Tuesday morning. Lots to get to here. Glad you're spending part of your day with us. I can do this since Spinell's gone. He's on vacation again. I'm giving a hard time on that. His Brewers won again yesterday. They've won a billion in a row after they swept the Mets over the weekend. The Mets owner, who is he's pretty actually active on social media, which I appreciate. He tweeted this out this morning, and I'll share it here on the air, which I appreciate because I think they have, next to the Yankees, maybe the worst record in baseball since June 1. Go ahead, Brody. You can throw it up. We haven't been playing well, but I still believe in this team. Throw up is a good way to put it. We have been playing well, but I still believe in this team. I'll be at Citi Field the next 3 games rooting the Mets on. Let's go Mets. That's from Steve Cohen, who's the owner of the team. So we'll see. I mean, right now they're fighting for the last wild card spot. They had the best record of the National League for a while, and now they've lost 7 in a row, 13 of 14, after they won 7 in a row. It's just a terrible stretch going now. So we'll see that they open up a series tonight with the Braves. That always goes well because Atlanta always plays the Mets stuff tonight at Citi Field. Okay, yesterday we mentioned ESPN's tour of 50 states in 50 days continued. They hit North Dakota yesterday, and specifically North Dakota State football practice. And they had several segments with SportsCenter anchor Matt Berry. They were on live from 1 to 2 yesterday afternoon, and we had a chance to visit with Matt about his second trip to Fargo. He was actually here back in 2015 when they did a SportsCenter on the road segment before a Bison football game against Northern Iowa. And you'll also hear from head coach Tim Polisic about getting on some live TV, diagramming some plays. I believe they had Barry calling some plays during practice yesterday. So here's the conversation we had with each of them.
It's been great. You know, I was back here in 2015, October of 2015, and I remember absolutely falling in love with the game day atmosphere here. And I remember thinking that's a place that I would want to go back. And so when they started this 50 States in 50 Days campaign, they said, Matt, we want you to do both national champions. We want you to do Ohio State, the state of Ohio, and we want you to go back to Fargo. And I said, absolutely, I can't wait. So it's been good coming back. And I saw it in the fall, which was stunning in and of itself. But to be here in the summer and see this place at its best has been fun.
Why NDSU and Bison football? Why put that on the list here?
Yeah, well, 1, defending national champions, and 2, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find any program in the country at any level being more dominant than North Dakota State. 10 national championships in 14 years, no one can claim that. And so to be able to come to this state that loves its sports and a program this dominant, you got to look under the hood a little bit. I was just saying a moment ago, man, any head coach that's a head coach here, either A, has ties to the program, or B, is going to come in and win national championships. And we saw that last year at Polisek, year one, making his third stop here. So there's just something special about this place. There's something about the identity of this program that's connected to the state that leads to national championships, so it was easy for us.
You've been keeping tabs, I assume, since the last time you've been
Yes.
on Bison football.
Yeah.
What have you noticed over the last 10 years?
Well, what I've noticed is still dominance. I've noticed that they're going to be national championship contenders year in and year out. There was that brief stretch where they weren't, but you have to stop and start the conversation in FCS with North Dakota State. And two, NFL talent. You know, I think there's this misconception that if you don't go to a big school at the FBS level, you're not going to go to the NFL. Well, that's just wrong. An NFL scout's job literally is to scout the country to find the best football players, and you're going to find them here in Fargo. And so I think for me to be able to see some of these Carson Wentz's and Trey Lances, I know, look, some things haven't worked out and some things have, and I still think that Trey's career is still in its infancy, and I think he's in a good spot for him to succeed now. But to come here, to see the talent that's out here, that's been the biggest thing for me over the last decade. One, the consistency with coaching dominance, and two, the players that have been able to go on to the NFL.
To showcase not just Bison football, but to get FCS football in the national limelight, how important is that?
Oh, it's huge. It is absolutely huge. And I keep bringing up this example because it was kind of near and dear to what I was doing at the time. But in COVID 2020, you may remember when everybody kind of tried to push the season along or postpone the season, the FCS playoffs, and they had their season in the spring. And so everyone, and I call it the playoff games, and everyone was able to get a look at FCS football and how good it is. And sure, there'll be a week or two during the season where game day will take a look at an FCS game and potentially come on campus. But for me, I'm a football nerd. I think FCS set the trend with a playoff bracket that FBS is idolized forever and has been jealous of forever. So they kind of set that trend. And so for us to kind of peek under the hood a little bit and show people that it doesn't matter the lever, there's as good a football here as there is in the country, I think it's important for sports fans, especially ESPN and SportsCenter viewers, to see.
While you've been here, what's your schedule been like?
Got in yesterday afternoon. Now I'm regretting because I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, man, the golf here is incredible. So I should have come a little bit earlier, brought the sticks and played a little bit of golf, but I was downtown last night, and just to see in the last decade how the downtown area has grown. I mean, it really is impressive. And I'm such a huge fan of places that typically don't get the national attention to see how they've grown over the past 5, 6, 7 years. And I just smiled because, like, man, this place has always been a hidden gem, and I got to see it myself last night.
How does this building compare to Ohio State? I'm curious.
If you put, and I'm being dead serious here, if you just change this to scarlet and gray and put an Ohio State logo on it, you would notice a difference. I was just there 2-3 weeks ago. Indoor facility, the exact same. National championships, you guys have more. And then it butts up to the outside of it. And so this facility, doesn't matter where you are in the country, this stacks up with anyone in the country, Big Ten or SEC.
Really good. It's awesome national exposure once again, but I think we've earned that. I mean, I can honestly say we've earned that as a program to be highlighted, to celebrate this thing, and it all starts with the former players.
Is that your stage network live TV debut?
Gosh, someone else asked me that. I can't remember if I did something with the Big Ten Network or not, but I got to at least see that whole production of the Big Ten Network being there. Okay, Iowa's highlighted for the day. Boom, boom, boom. It reminds me a lot of the preparation for CBS or with ESPN, or anytime Matt Millen would come in with the Big Ten, you'd come early and show up and want to ask questions. So, listen, that was my first time probably, I think, being live. But hopefully all those former experiences, I hope it comes off and I represented the school in the right way.
What does it do for, you got asked about it, it's like, yeah, he wants to be part of practice. I mean, this is a big week.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
You know, God, the one area I'm probably different than my mentor, Craig Bowl. He chased people over on Broadway. If he saw a telescope, he would go run and take off running. I mean, at Wyoming. I mean, these people, it was nice to have some people want to poke their head at practice, and he would run them off. I think it's really good for our kids to be in an environment where there's some distractions, where we got to really be able to do a good job of eliminating that stuff. And then, play calls are play calls. I'm on the opposite spectrum of that. If they know your quarterback verbiage on the line of scrimmage, that's a problem. But I really believe you can hand the damn playbook over to your opponents, and you still got to line up and play each other. and plays our play. Everybody knows what we're trying to be good at, and we're going to want to call the things that we're good at.
How big's this week? Knowing you got good contact, and what do you want to get done?
Unbelievably physical camp so far. I mean, we tackled a little today again. Bryce Lance was spectacular today, period. And that's what we have to find out about defense, right? Like, if there's a player like that, I mean, are you going to cloud him? Are you going to bracket him, horizontally or vertically? And that gold zone period, I thought, went pretty good for the offense. First glance, I would give the edge to, Big O. But this situation now, finishing drives, we're looking for 6 points, right? Can we do a good job with that, or are we going to be a team that's constantly kicking field goals? And then on the other hand, just put the damn fire out on defense. If they get in there deep, we got to hold them to 3. But those are things, as we get into the practice, you're just running plays. Like, we got to be locked into the situation. I really like how we're installing things and moving on from third down now into the gold zone.
Anybody out for extended time?
Well, Alex Elliott's the one kid I'm comfortable saying, like last year, maybe with Cole, like, it's going to be extensive, and probably looks to be more like a season-ending deal. No, we should give pressure. Peter Halgo is going to come back. Nobody else is on that list that was in the 2 deep or special teams 2 deep. Brett Tested, hopefully he gets some good news, but there's complications with his situation, and we're praying for him. Nobody that's in the 2 deep right now, there hasn't been anything threatening for the season.
Edie's back without a brace. So
Edie, I think tail end, I'd be really surprised. I think I know that kid pretty good. There's some grit there, and there's a hunger to get back out there, and the faster he can do something, all right, alleviates pressure off the other guy's legs, and then we'll move him into it, but that could be as early as Saturday. I'm very hopeful for early next week that he's at least doing 7-on-7, individual, and some ball-out break stuff.
Some good news there from Tim Polasek about Talon Edie getting back out on the field, because we thought that might be a longer-term injury there. But some good stuff, both from Matt Berry and Polasek on ESPN coming to town. And, of course, Bison will be featured on ESPN or ESPN2 later in October when the Dakota Marker game kicks off against South Dakota State. We'll break. We come back. Mike McFeely joining us in studio. Lots to get to from Bison Fall Camp, and a couple other topics we'll hit with Mike. Back on Hot Mike on WDAY Extra right after this.
Oh, it's Mr. McFeely.
I have seen the future, and he was wearing number 5, and I ain't talking about Robbie Grimsley, folks.
Took out the muffins, took out the trail mix, took out the cookies. They stole the monster cookies.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Let's do some broadcasting.
Let's do some broadcasting with our guy, Mike McFeely. Joins us in studio each and every Tuesday at 9:35. Michael's been out at Bison Fall Camp. We'll get to that in a minute. Big headline in the Star Tribune today. This is not going to be a shocker to you. Minnesota Twins approaching the worst fan turnout in Target Field history.
Yeah.
No surprise.
And it was going to be that way regardless, just because the attendance has been dropping for the Twins. Although the other day, I keep reading about how terrible the attendance is, and I mean they had 28,000, I think, on Friday night or Saturday. They had 26,000. The place only seats 38,000 or something for baseball.
You were there, probably the most well-attended game of the season.
Yeah, and I'm not denying that the attendance is going to be as low as it's ever been since they moved into the stadium in 2010. But this idea that there's 3,000 people at the games it's just not true.
That's not that.
In,
it's not good,
in another 3 weeks,
right?
Yes,
when school starts,
there might be 3,000 people. But like Saturday, I looked it up because I was watching it on TV, and I'm going, well, there's actually a lot of people there, and it was 29,000, which isn't bad.
No, it's not. It's just the last 6 weeks can play out the way it's gonna, and then it'll be done.
Yeah, nobody cares.
No one really cares
nobody
right
cares.
now. I was actually the NBA schedule. TV nuggets dropped. The Wolves are in the headlines again. Wolves are going to play on Christmas Day again, which is
they've been to the
Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. Right?
They've been to the semifinals 2 years in a row. And
so
they have
should.
Anthony Edwards, so they should be featured on television.
So we'll chat about
Let's
that.
Let's not
earlier.
talk about the Boston Celtics. They're going to have a bit of a.
They're not on Christmas Day.
They're going to have a bit of a rebuild.
You think it's not going to be good for the old Celtics?
For the squad.
Have you prepared Michelle for that, or she prepared you for that? That it's not going to be a good winter.
I have prepared her for that, and She don't want to hear it.
Any part of that, right?
She does not want to hear it. So let's just not talk about that.
Got it. All right. So I want to hit on a couple things that you have written about Bison Fall Camp. And one, we have not talked about this guy yet on our show, and it's perfect you wrote about him on Friday, is the running back transfer from Kennesaw State, one DJ Scott.
Yeah.
Who, I don't know, he transferred in May, and it was shortly after Marty Brown left, and I don't know if Bison fans thought, well, this is a one-for-one trade-off here, but
it is not,
it
by
is
the
not. But the young man has some size to him, but he's quicker than I thought. We're seeing a little bit of highlights. We have him from fall camp, Mike, that when we talked about this when he came in, and you can expound on this more, that he didn't really carry it a whole lot at Kennesaw State, and there's a variety of reasons of what went down there, but he's impressed so far, so much the fact that Tim Polisic said he's in the mix to be the number 2 running back.
I think he's the leader in the clubhouse at this point to be the number 2 running back. Let's start. Let's do the first thing we have to do with transfers. Transfers are a 50-50 proposition, okay? You can throw propaganda out there like some in FCS do about how every transfer is the greatest and they're going to be all Americans and we have replaced everybody with transfers and they're just no. It's transfers are a 50-50 proposition. So you can look at North Dakota State's history with transfers, and some were good and some have not done anything.
Didn't pan out
for them at all. So let's start there. DJ Scott was a pretty highly recruited kid out of Florida, just outside of Orlando.
Yep.
Actually had some good offers, some really good offers. At Cincinnati was all over him, from what I understand. I talked to Sam O'Jury, the Bison's running backs coach, on Friday about this, but Cincinnati was all over him. There was some other, Buffalo, which isn't a bad program in the MAC. There's a couple other FBS schools, and then there's some decent FCS schools like Illinois State and some others that were in and wanted the kid to go. Sam kind of said, well, he kind of maybe waited a little too long, and maybe he was, I don't know, this is me speculating. This isn't Sam saying this, but maybe he's waiting for a better offer or just couldn't make up his mind or whatever the situation was. And so as happens, then the offers dry up.
Teams move on.
Because teams will sign somebody else and say, okay, whatever. He ended up going to Kennesaw State, which is one of the worst FBS programs in FBS. Last year was their first year in FBS, and it was not good.
Nope.
But when I talked to DJ, and he's a quiet kid, he's not, expansive or gregarious. Nice guy, but just not one sentence answers, which is either me asking bad questions, which is always a possibility, or he just isn't a very talkative, and he doesn't know me, so why would he tell me his life story? But he said, well, I'm a Florida guy. Kennesaw was pretty close to home, and that factored in. I had some family members around Atlanta. That factored in. So the family side of things and being close to home was important to him. So he went to Kennesaw. Now, we remember Kennesaw as being an option team. Remember when they were running the option team was Brian Bohannon, the head coach, and they were actually like a quarterfinalist in the FCS playoffs a couple of years. Chris Kleiman was never that impressed with him, but we can get into that later. That's an inside joke between Dom and I, which you should never do in broadcasting. No. Never tell inside jokes because we laugh and nobody else knows what the heck we're talking
funny,
about.
Though.
But he went to Kennesaw State, and they're no longer an option team.
Yeah.
They were actually a single back team last year. And so DJ came in as a redshirted the first year, played in a couple of games, actually had a long touchdown run as a true freshman. Last year as a redshirt freshman, he was 4th or 5th on the depth chart. And Sam O'Jury said, I know everybody's looking at the record. I know everybody's looking at Kennesaw State as being 2-10 and got off. But he said they really did have a number of good running backs. They were good at running back because that's what they had recruited for so long with the way they ran their offense.
Yep.
He said DJ kind of got caught up in that. He was kind of, as a redshirt freshman, was the 4th or 5th back, just never got a chance to play. He said the running backs did okay, and then once they started losing games, then it was, we're just going to play our first stringers from start to finish because we got to try to win a few games here. Didn't work out. But DJ at the end of the year said, I'm just not getting a chance here. Went in the transfer portal. O'Jury knew of him. I don't think he directly recruited him. in Florida, but he knew of him because Sam was at Illinois State last year. So he knew of DJ Scott. Said they checked out some guys. He was one of the ones they checked out. Some of the guys came in with what Sam would call red flags. He goes, these transfers, it's tough because you got to do everything so fast.
Yeah.
But you got to...
It's speed dating.
You have to do your homework. And he said some of the kids we're looking at, he said, first of all, some of the high-end, the P4 drop-downs, he says, you know what the first question they ask is? It's not... Like, what's your culture?
No.
Like, what's your offense?
No.
Like, how's your coaching staff? What are the facilities? The first question is, how much are you going to pay me?
How much money? Yep.
So he said those guys are out. He said they checked out some other guys. There's just some things that came up. DJ was in the mix from the start. Said no red flags came up with DJ. He's a hard worker. He's got some talent. He's got some skill, and Sam O'Jury thinks that he's going to be a good one.
So
another longtime Bison guy that I ran into at practice yesterday, DJ Scott took a handoff and went around the end for a big gain in practice, and that person said, I like that kid.
Yeah.
He's going to be good. He's going to be good.
Well,
So
Paulson
we'll see.
brought it up to us on last Wednesday, I think unprompted, when he said he thought this group of running backs could be better than what they had last year.
Yeah,
as a whole.
Yeah, I heard you talking about this yesterday a little bit. I don't think that they're saying that the top guy is going to be as good as the top guy. Although Barika Penu, I think, is poised for a pretty good year. He looks pretty sharp. Yep. Sam O'Jury talked about him as well on Friday. He said Barika's going to have a good year. I think if everything goes the way we hope it can go. But I think as a whole, I think they're talking about as a group that it's going to be probably a deeper running backs room, as we say, than it was a year ago.
And that's going to include Miles Mitchell as well, the true freshman who's battling with Scott. Owen Johnson is back as well as part of that. Cortez LeGrand is a transfer from Minnesota who they think can give them something there.
Yeah, kind of that speedy guy.
Yeah.
I don't want to compare, but like the Jalen Bussey.
Yep.
Remember him his first couple of years?
Yep.
Like he would come in the second half and get a crease and go 80 yards.
And
those kind of guys.
I'll remind people, the running back room last year, on what is it, day 3, Polisic told us Peter Haugo is moving to running back. That's the situation they were in last year after, because Barika got hurt early in fall camp last year, too.
And if you think last year, Tim Polisic, one of the first things he said publicly when he was the head coach of North Dakota State is, we need to get our running backs back to where they were when I was here before. Where they were the stars. They were the guys on the posters. It was Lance Dunn, Bruce Anderson, Sam O'Jury.
Sam O'Jury was one of them.
Gosh, he was good.
John
Crockett. That's where NJC's running backs kind of used to be, where they were the guys.
The dudes.
You just think of big run after big run, whether it's Sam O'Jury against Georgia Southern or whoever, or John Crockett against Iowa State. Tim Polisic wanted to bring that back. I think they started to get there last year, toward the end of the year, especially when Marty Brown kind of started to figure things out a little bit and could go for a 20 or 30-yard gain. I think they're hoping to get further down that path this year.
Yeah, with a little bit of explosion too. Like DJ's got that. He's got some shiftiness and get around, like you mentioned yesterday.
You know what he has? Burst.
So I can't wait for the season to start because we can stop using terms we only use for 1 month out of the year.
He's flashed a lot in practice. He's popped.
He's getting some good run.
He's getting some good run.
Good run
he
right
is,
now.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, let's break. We come back. Want to chat about something Mike's been working on for the last little bit that's going to debut coming up later this week online and in the paper. We'll do that. We come back, wrap up our first hour of Hot Mike right after this on WDAY Extra. Welcome back, everybody. A few minutes left here with Mike joining us here. We're going through Wisconsin's football schedule for unknown reasons. Reasons only known to you and I.
Yeah.
And Vanel's on vacation, or else he'd totally disagree with what we had.
Well, yes, he'd have him going 12 and
0.
So I've got him going, 4-8?
4-8. We went through that. Yeah. Yep. Not great.
Nope.
How about the Ghosts? What do we make of? Because there's a couple of emails on this that I was going to get to later in the week, but I'll have it go now. Like, what do we make of PJ's bunch for this year.
I'm still not a PJ Fleck is not my flavor, and that's whatever. I mean, I'm an old man that just doesn't like all the BS and all that stuff. I think there's a good layer of phoniness there.
Yep.
But I'll say this, that he's got the Gophers football program pretty consistent.
Yep.
They had a number of guys, again, get drafted. He's got some players in there. I think he's trying to do it the right way, that you have to do it in Minnesota, and I have no problem with what he's doing.
I love watching Coy Parrish. I mean, he's a star.
Yep, I have no problem with what, and I think he's cut back on some of that.
It's not nearly as in your face as it was.
I think he's, he's got about 3 contract extensions out of him now, and so he's like going, okay, I'm set for life, and so are my next 4 generations of my family. So I don't hear the row the boat stuff 7,000 times a day. I know he's trying to sell the program and all of that stuff. But he's fine. He's hired some good assistants. They're getting some of the good kids out of Minnesota that used to leave.
That did not stay.
Like Coy Parrish would not have stayed in Minnesota 10 years ago.
No.
5 years ago.
5 years ago, I don't think
he
so.
He would have either gone to Wisconsin or Ohio State, and he stayed in Minnesota. So,
or
come to. If it was Tim Brewster, he would have come to North Dakota State.
That's right.
And they would have won 3 national championships with
Their
him.
schedule does them no favors this year. They go to Columbus.
Tough,
They go to Iowa this year. They go to Oregon this year, and they have tricky one. Northwestern is probably going to be better too. Northwestern, it's every other year the Wildcats are good. So they weren't good last year. Northwestern, I bet you, watch, they'll be good this year.
Okay.
I'm telling you, watch. And then they have the Badgers at home.
Gophers by 3 touchdowns against Northwestern.
Okay. And their FCS game is Northwestern State. You've been to Northwestern State, have you not?
I have. Yeah.
So Southland stop.
How bad is that, though? I see all these. You go on FBSschedules.com as you do, and you look at these FCS games that these FBS schools are scheduling, and you just go, come on.
Yep.
Come on.
Yep.
What are we doing here?
Okay.
Which is again for the 33rd thousandth time. I'm going to say this. For all of you people out there saying, "Oh, we're going to stay in FCS and win national championships," no. Look at some of the games you can get if you're an FBS, a G5 school.
Yep.
Now, it wouldn't all change because they'd be a good G5 school, but Boise State is really, 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 and they get good FBS games because they're FBS.
Yes.
Heck, they don't want the FCS label. If they're going to play in FCS, they're going to play Murray State or Western Illinois or Northwestern State.
Yeah.
They're not going to play South Dakota State or NDSU. And USD is going to start having a problem as well.
Correct. How are you going to feel this year when your friends at Mo State play USC?
I see they're already, 25.5-point underdogs.
But they're playing Southern Cal.
They're hosting, aren't they hosting Marshall?
Yes.
And they play SMU.
Yes.
They're playing a Big Ten team. What's SMU these days?
ACC.
They're hosting a Sun Belt school.
Is that good? Hello.
I mean, if you're North Dakota State and you get one of those games,
oh my gosh!
If you somehow get to the Mountain West, and you and I heard you yesterday with Kolpak saying they're not going anywhere, they're stuck in FCS.
They are.
You need to be optimistic, my friend. Okay.
This is odd coming from you that I need to be optimistic.
I know, but that's how desperate I am. That just shows you how desperate I am that I want NDSU to get to FBS. My God.
Off of
just
that.
Come on. Positive vibes.
I'll try.
It's not dead yet.
Okay.
It's not over till I say it's over. And it ain't over yet.
Okay. All right. I'll change my tune
FBS.
just because you said off of that, you've been grinding away. There's been no summer vacation in the McFeely house this year.
No.
Because debuting on Friday, Inforum.com, and in the actual paper, right? Will it be
the e-edition?
E-edition will be out there.
Yeah.
Michael has chosen the top 75 North Dakota State football games in the Division
in
I
FCS
era.
Since 2004.
So
correct.
How in the world, did you select 75 games here? Because initially it was like 100, wasn't it?
It was going to be 100, and then once I got past 75, I could have gone to 85, let's say.
75 is a good number.
But I just kind of went, it's not, I'm a big, round it up off type of thing. I was going to go to 100, and I went, well, some of these games are kind of sketchy. I mean, I could have done it.
Yeah.
And then plus it just takes up so much space. But yeah, so I just kind of went through every game.
And you chatted
I went through every game.
And you chatted with former coaches?
Bunch of luminaries, bunch of former coaches, former administrators, former players.
Everybody you think you'd want to talk to, you did.
No. I mean, I could have talked to 100 people. I did not. I just chose kind of carefully and getting some different eras involved here because it's been 21 years now, and there's been 4 head coaches. So I did talk to every head coach in the Division I era and picked their brains. Had some great conversations, by the way. Just
really good
some
stuff.
really good stories and stuff. So
I can't wait for people to see it.
And you've been a part of this as well. I kind of consulted you and some others, Kolpak and guys just that have covered NDSU for a long time and kind of got some different ideas. But I literally ranked them 1 to 75.
Yep.
Like when I say top games, it's most impactful games in Division I.
Doesn't necessarily be best games, right?
No.
Yeah.
No, there are losses.
There's some boat races that are up there.
There's some losses and some boat races because those games helped shape. The overarching question at the end of the day for me was, what games have made NDSU football into what NDSU football is today?
Yeah. And why ESPN was here yesterday.
ESPN was here yesterday, yes.
You're not going to find the 2019 Bison 47-22 win at Delaware where Danny Rocco after the game would not answer what his quarterback situation was.
That one. What was the exact quote? Do you really think I'm going to answer that question right now? That was the exact quote. And I said, I have to ask.
Yeah.
He goes, it's unlikely that I'm going to answer that question right now. Get out of here. Go away.
That was 2 years in a row that they got his you-know-what kicked by the Bison there when we went to
And then where did he went to Richmond after that?
And now he's at VMI. He's the coach at VMI now.
Go away.
But it's fantastic. Rob Beer's an awesome job laying things out. There's a podcast attached with it as well.
There's going to be a podcast that we recorded recently. So there'll be 5 or 6 stories, literally a list, an interactive list.
That's cool.
Of 1 to 75, where when you click on the game, like let's say number 47.
Okay.
You click on that game, it expands to show a photo of the sports section that day.
Oh, that's
after
cool.
the winner lost.
That's
Plus,
neat.
I wrote capsules for all 75 games with some of the details from the games. All the games, actually, 1 to 75.
Wow. Is there one not in the top 10 that stands out to you? Like,
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say. We'll talk about that maybe next week when I'm on after the list is out. We can.
I'm really interested in the feedback you get, though.
I would encourage everybody who reads it. We're going to have a place where people can vote for their games, at least 5 or 10 or something like that of them. And I would encourage everybody to comment on the stories or send me emails or whatever. I'm not on social media much these days, although I did promote this today on Twitter, and I just came away with my skin crawling, having to go on that burning pile of garbage social media site. But anyway, Friday morning sometime.
Okay.
It's all going to drop at inform.com. It's just fun. It's just something fun. And you may or may not agree, probably won't agree with.
That's the best part about
with all 75. Yeah. And certainly the number one game that I picked is the most important game in NDSU's FCS history.
It's debatable.
You may not agree.
Yep. Great stuff, man. Looking forward to seeing it. Thanks for coming by as always. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Mm-hmm. Mike McFeely joins us in studio each and every Tuesday at 9:35. We'll break. We'll start our second hour. Big football hour coming. We'll head out to Minot. We'll also head to Mayville as they're starting their season, I think, in like 2 days. No, it's 2 weeks for the Comets. It's coming up. We come back on Hot Mike right after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2 on this Tuesday morning right on Rock and Roll. We'll head out Minot coming up in about a half hour and visit with Jacob Holmen, head coach at Minot North. Sentinels have some high expectations after a run to the state semis a year ago. We'll do that coming up in just about a half hour. But our first guest of our second hour is we're chatting plenty of football all the time. We've mentioned we're not that far away from games being played. The Dragons will start August 28th, so will Mayville State. The Comets are under a new era as they're now in a new league in the Frontier Conference. Head coach Rocky Larson and athletic director joins us here this morning to chat about the a lot of changes going around with all the teams that we cover in our area, and Mayville State is one of them. It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for the time. First, we were joking off air on everything seeming earlier. It's earlier for you guys. Describe that of getting guys back earlier and how that's gone for fall camp.
Yeah, with the calendar and that week 0 being August 28th, we could report to camp August 2nd for 2 administrative days, get kids enrolled in classes, make sure we have everything done, which was nice to get the paperwork done and be able to practice August 4th. But summer went by quick. We host a Shrine game up here.
Yeah.
And then I take about 2 weeks off after the Shrine game, and then I think kids are back on campus. So we've got 143 kids going through fall camp right now. We're already into week 2 today. I think today's Wednesday. We're in the middle of fall camp grind here, where you don't know what day it is. But our kids are working hard, and everything has gotten moved so far forward. Our dorms opened July 20th, so it feels like some of these kids have been here a long time, and it's about time to go play someone else, I can tell you that.
And you got a game at home to start. How big is that you're going to be under the lights to start the season coming up here 2 weeks from Thursday?
Yeah, 2 weeks. That's crazy. We got to get a lot better in the next 2 weeks. I know that. We wanted to. That week 2, week 1, however you want to look at it, with the Concordia-Moorhead down there. At a night game, we wanted a home game before we played that, because we go Concordia-Moorhead, we go to Nebraska, and then we go to California.
Yeah.
Our first time our home fans would have seen us was August 28th or 27th. So we needed to get a home game in Judson, willing to fly up here and play us on a 1-year contract Thursday night under the lights. Helps us get more practices and do that type of stuff. So we're looking forward to being able to play at home under the lights before we take the trip on the road for 3 weeks.
Mentioned the Cobber game has got a lot of attention as well, Rocky, because it's a night game. They've never played a night one, and you guys are going to be part of that. How big a deal is that for your team?
Man, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be an awesome atmosphere. I've seen they're doing a great job marketing it. Hopefully we can go down and keep it close and give them a game. Coach Rand, he's what they've done down there. They pushed St. John's to the brink. That's a high-end MIAC. I have the utmost respect for the MIAC, being from Wisconsin and seeing all those schools my whole life, and they're at the top of that every year. So that's a really good test for the Comets week 2, and it's a 45-minute game. We get to play a game in the Fargo-Moorhead area.
Yeah.
The place will be rocking. We are looking forward to that game and getting down there and opening that stadium under lights. And like I said, hopefully our kids are ready for that and we can keep it close.
We've been talking about the Frontier Conference for a while. Now it's reality. Describe both roles that you have, how the anticipation for this has come, and now that you're part of it, what has that been like in each of your jobs?
Yeah, it's become real in a hurry.
Yeah.
We've talked about this mythical super conference for the last 20 months, and all of a sudden now you got to start putting pen to paper. You got to start booking plane tickets. Yesterday I had to give birthdays of who I think is going to be on that plane to Simpson. Our volleyball team's going to Montana for 8 days to play 4 games. So. Yeah. We got to start really looking at missed class time. How are we going to proctor tests on the road? We're not just talking about it. These are real conversations that we have to have some concrete plans. And our president, Dr. Van Horn, has been great getting us prepared and making sure the faculty's prepared. It's going to be a monumental shift with the missed class times. But I think a university like us, a small institution that cares about student athletes and students in general, will handle this well. And I know our kids are really looking forward to that California trip. I'm looking forward to it so we can get it done and make sure everything is prepared and make sure there's no flaws and get in and out. So we're looking forward to it. I mean, it's one of, if not the best leagues in NAI. We get to continue to play Dickinson, Valley, Dakota State. We still have the local rivalries. So with everything that happened, this is the best outcome that could have happened out of anything we looked at.
When going back, and I know we had you on the show when this was a potential and then it was reality. Now it's really here. I mean, what you mentioned about booking flight, when did it hit you right in the face? Like, okay, this is our new reality.
June 1st, when I sat down I started booking out my trips. I booked my trip to Concordia-Moorhead first. That was easy. We could leave 3 hours before game time, pick up some pizza. Copy and pasted my Concordia or my Nebraska Wesleyan trip, week 2. And then I started planning that week 3 game, and it took me a week. We We got to get 77 kids on multiple trips to Sacramento. We got to feed them 11 meals while we're out there. We have to run study tables while we're out there. We have to find a practice field while we're out there. We aren't chartering. We're taking commercial airline.
Yeah.
And then when we land, we got to drive 3 hours to get to Reading to play the game. We got to find a bus company. So my staff got sick of me, but it took us a full week of calling places, trying to find and California prices are a little different than North Dakota prices. We're paying like $10 a mile out there for bus. So trying to make sure we have our ducks in a row, place to practice, place to eat. And that's why I said I'm really hoping for that trip to go smooth and get it past us and let's move on.
I mean, roughly, how much do you think this one trip to California will cost for football?
$139,000.
Wow. Man.
I have it done. Yep.
Man. And thankfully you're not playing the other, because it's two divisions that are now part of the Frontier Conference. So scheduling wise, how does that work? I mean, are you going to play other teams from that, or you hope we can't do that?
And part of the big agreement when we went to this conference was the East and West. We had to have East-West.
Yeah.
Because none of us can afford, no matter who you look at, we can't afford going to Eastern Oregon, Southern Oregon. And there was talk at one point, if we had to, we'd play a Saturday, stay out there all week, and play a Thursday night game, similar to what the NFL schedule is. But Commissioner Crawford has done a great job with some creative scheduling ideas. But, we get two crossovers we have to play. So we play Arizona Christian at home. Looking forward to that. And then next year we go to Arizona Christian, and Simpson comes to us, which we recruit in Arizona. We got a lot of alums in Arizona. That we're looking forward to that one. I've never been to Sacramento, California, so this one's a little new to me. But we still get to schedule 3 non-conference games, which is an exciting piece to be able to continue to. We'd love to play a MIAC team every year. I know they're doing some scheduling, and I would love to play Concordia every year. And I know Coach Rand feels the same way. I mean, if we can shrink the travel into non-conference, we can handle doing a few more longer trips, and that's what that Concordia-Moorhead game let us do, is make this work.
Going with Dickinson, with Dakota State, with Valley, how much have you guys worked in concert on this, knowing obviously your schedules are different, but we kind of linking arms that we're in this together?
Yeah, I think everyone – we call each other, see how much is your president giving you, how much is your president, how much do you have to fundraise. I don't know if anyone's really giving the truth on any of it. Everyone's trying to keep, but we've done a good job sharing information of, hey, here's where we're eating in the road. Here's a place that we're looking to stay. Here's a company that can help you book travel. So we're having some general conversations now. I'm hoping. I've let anyone know, hey, when you go play Simpson, I'll send you our travel schedule because I have it done, and here's where we ate, here's what we did. So I think the year 2 you'll see more of that than this first year's. We're all trying to figure it out.
Have you got more guys to come in, knowing level of competition is certainly different, where you're playing is different? Did that help recruiting?
Yes, it helped us on the West Coast. I think as you went west, the Frontier has a logo. When I go to Hillsborough High School or Thompson High School or West Fargo, I don't know if they don't know what the Frontier Conference is. It's my job to explain that to them. As I start going west and you have the Frontier Conference logo, it got us into some high schools, and it got us into some recruiting conversations that we've never been in before. I think as people start seeing the level of competition, and with all of us in the same league, it will grow pretty quick in the state of North Dakota what the Frontier Conference really means. So it helped us out west. In the state of North Dakota, it's still relationships, and it's still finding the right kids to fit us.
Well, I think you talked with Big E about this for the Forum article, that this league, I know Carroll College, I know Eastern Oregon, I know Montana Western. I mean, these are legit NAIA teams. I mean, this league is, would you call it the SEC of the NAIA? Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top 25 came out, 5 ranked in the top 25 in football. I want to say it was 5 or 6 in volleyball.
Man.
National champs come out in basketball. We're going to have to be a lot better. But I'll tell you right now, our presidents our president for sure has done a good job getting us to a scholarship point where we can be competitive. We're not in the North Star anymore. We're not just playing all these local teams. We're going to be on a little bit more of a national stage where we got to be prepared, and we got to have the right kids in the building and the right coaches in the building for us to be successful.
Is it, when you get this challenge now, knowing full well, how has that changed for not knowing maybe the guys we need? Is that something you're looking at this year? Like, okay, we went through it, and for the next recruiting cycle, we're going to need to change maybe the kind of players we get here?
Yeah, it changed us a lot. And this is the first time we've ever had over 110 kids on roster.
Man.
We brought in 144 so we can have a competitive fall camp, and we have to be able to continue to push the standard to where we can be competitive in this league. And call it what it is, the last 5 years in football, we haven't been that competitive in the North Star. We've gotten better, but we're not where we want to be. And now we get dumped into the SEC. No one feels bad for us, I tell you that. We're just got to go back to work, pull up our sleeves, and continue to get Mayville State football. And I'll tell you right now, as an athletic department, we've done a great job of getting better student athletes in the door because we have to. We've done a better job with transfers. We've done a better job with local transfers. We've done a good job changing our image. So for sure, we've had to recruit a better student athlete to be able to compete.
Since you got the job and now so much has changed, are you where you want to be, or where are you at in terms of when you got it, this is my vision of what we had for football?
When I interviewed, I said it's going to take us 8 years to flip. I think it was going to take 2 recruiting classes. And people think that's crazy in today's landscape of the average head coach lasts about 3 years. And it's recruiting, it's transfer portal, and get as many good kids as you can. We aren't doing it through the transfer portal. We're doing it through local high schools, continue to develop kids. We're not messing with the NIL money. We're still a small, local North Dakota, Minnesota that kids can come develop. I think we're on track. I think we're right where we want to be. We got to take a step this year. It's tough losing 36 seniors last year, but again, no one cares. People are probably excited we lost 36. I would be, so we just got to continue to improve and continue to develop the kids we have in our own building.
How's that Olson guy working as offensive coordinator? Is he doing an okay job? I haven't talked to him a little bit.
He's a pain in my butt sometimes. I'm fortunate to have him, man. The connections he has.
He knows. Yeah, he does. He knows everybody, right?
He knows everyone,
Yeah.
and he's gotten us in more conversations. It's nice to have the head coach when I can step away from practice and go do AD stuff, that he's been a head coach for so many years. He knows how to manage a practice. He knows how to make a practice. I can turn it over to him and Coach Latecki and say, hey, I got to go do AD stuff. You guys handle this. So, man, I'm fortunate to have Coach Olson, and I know it was a big loss to Hillsborough, but for the state of North Dakota, and to keep him, and he's really helped the Comets recruiting locally.
Couple last things for you, and I really appreciate the time. Fan-wise, how have you gone about in giving them the lowdown of hey, this is who we're playing now. This is who we did play. They're coming with it, but this is how much info have you given them, or you feel like they're plugged in of what's to come?
I think they're plugged in, but they don't realize it yet. I think I know coaches, we're really excited not to have to play people twice. Playing people twice in 5 weeks is not easy. Us coaches, you're trying to win every game and you're trying to send every bullet, and then you see the exact same defense. It's an NFL scale. Like, you can't. It's really hard. So I think they're excited to see Arizona Christian. Arizona Christian's never been to Droneberg Stadium to play us in the game. We're really excited. The most volleyball games we've had at home is 7 or 8. We got 11 home volleyball games. Our men's basketball's at home 16 times this winter. Those are big numbers. And in a community Mayville size, where Mayville athletics is your entertainment, that's a big deal to the local supporters, the local people, that we can give them something to do in the middle of January and have a competitive Frontier Conference basketball game in our gym.
Yeah, the basketball is really, really interested about that. It's great to see you, man. I know you're in the midst of fall camp. Thanks so much for the time. Stay healthy, and hopefully we'll talk soon, okay?
Always good to see you, Dom, and go Comets.
Thanks for the time, bud. Rocky Larson joining us, Mayville State head football coach, athletic director joining us there. Big times ahead. This is part of the theme of what we're talking about in 2025, with either high school teams moving divisions or conferences. Here at Mayville, Valley, Dickinson State are all doing the same thing as well. And this is a monstrous league. And we talked about it when it happened, and now it's reality of what they have. I mean, we're going from Oregon, California, Montana, Arizona, Nebraska. I mean, it's everywhere. It's a big league, and this is not the kind of money we're talking about in Division I that they you heard Rocky say it, $139,000 for one trip. That's a lot of money for an NAIA school. Really interested to see how this works for not just them, but for for Valley and for Dickinson State as well. We're overdue for a break. We'll caught up. We got a few emails to get to. Again, Jacob Holmen going to join us from Minot North at 10:35 as the Sentinels ready for a big run in 2025. Back on Hot Mike, just a couple minutes. Welcome back, everybody. Our thanks to Rocky Larson for giving us a few minutes there. That's good stuff. Got a few emails coming in and then some news to share on Bison football fan experience for this upcoming year. Email comes in. Dom, why aren't you placing any weight on last week's NCAA governance changes? Realignment requirements are locked in for 5 years. That's a big deal. This alleviates a major concern for the Mountain West Conference. Is it a done deal? Of course not, but it's a big change in favor of NDSU. Cites a quote from Gloria Navarez, who's the commissioner of the Mountain West. Our concern was even if we committed to an FCS school, what if in 2 years the rules changed and they couldn't be a member anymore? In this environment, we just didn't know. We did discuss this yesterday on the show with Sam Herder, and it's a lot of in-the-weed stuff. I'm not going to get excited on that yet. First off, the Mountain West, UC Davis is first up anyway, because they have that written into their agreement that if they want to extend an invite, they'll likely do it to Davis, that it wouldn't be North Dakota State. That would be first up on the wait list there. So I'm not going to get excited on that. There's still too much volatility that's going to happen, and maybe that'll work in NDSU's favor. Tell me when it's pretty close to real, because this time last year I thought we were pretty close to real, and obviously we know what ended up happening there. I don't think they're going to grow the pool anymore. I just don't. I don't think they're going to get any more FCS teams in. I don't think they want to share any more than they have to. Like most State, Delaware got in before the party closed. Dom, Mike is crazy if he thinks the Bison can compete at the next level with a 20,000-seat home stadium. The money just isn't there to do it. I completely disagree on that. If you look at other FBS teams that, quote-unquote, compete, Fargo-Dome is A-OK. Fargo-Dome would be just fine. Now, it's not without renovation, which is long overdue there, which for some reason the citizens of Fargo don't seem to think it needs it. Maybe it's not been sold correctly. We can debate that. I think we did last election day when we talked about the special election that came up or even last November when it came up for the Dome. But it's not without needing some TLC. But the Dome itself, it's fine. I've been to plenty of other Division I stadiums. The Fargo Dome is A-OK. And it would be fine for seating if it was a Mountain West Conference stadium. I implore you to watch MACtion or the Sun Belt or Conference USA on a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. The Dome would be A-OK on that. Speaking of the Dome, as we were in break, got an email sent out about ticket information for Bison football for this upcoming fall and also game day enhancements. And last year, remember, I think NDSU really finally listened to fans and changed things up. Remember, the inflatable helmet was gone. They brought in the fire and the team ran out of, which was cool. I enjoyed that. The Stampede March, I think, was a really good idea. I don't know if it was a really good idea when we got to December, because those playoff games, man, I was out there for them, and it was cold. South Dakota State, the game of the semifinals, the game to go to Frisco, there was no walk. Those guys were sprinting to get into the Dome. And maybe it'll be a shorter march this year. We'll see. But it was a good idea. The first Jacks game, when we were out there in the night game in October, and it was beautiful, that was electric out there. Electric. That was really cool. So that's coming back. But here's the one to stop all conversation. This is something that I've been talking about, pleading about for years. Fans with tailgating passes for the Fargo Dome lots E, F, and G are now able to set up on Friday nights from 4 to 7 p.m. Fans can drop their tailgating equipment, trailers, vehicles, tents during the open time block for an easier setup on Saturday mornings. Fans are still required to exit the tailgate lot by 7 p.m. Friday and are not allowed to participate in normal tailgate activities during that time, including grilling, use of open flames, alcohol consumption, and more. Let's just full stop there, because that, in the height of Bison football popularity, I would go up on a Friday night, and this is 2016, 2017, if I was shooting a high school game, either at North or South if I was in town, and go look, and the line to get into tailgate had started. It would go from the south part of the dome, turn left, wrapped all around the Bison softball stadium, and be all the way down the next street. Crazy. It's not like that anymore. But we had always clamored, like, why can they not open up the lots on Friday? And these are the lots we're talking about, are directly west of the dome. Those are the ones that are going to be opened up. E, F, and G. Those are directly west. That's fantastic and long overdue. And granted, it's probably about 10 years overdue, because I think that when the height of Bison football popularity, that's when you saw the tailgate lots being people. What game was it? Might have been Eastern Washington. I went up after the news one night. It was 11:30 at night. I'm going to go up and see what it's like. And it's packed. Charleston Southern, I think, maybe the FCS kickoff game, the first game of 2016. So now it was 10 years ago. And the line of cars was unbelievable. I bet you I still have that video somewhere. It was, because I don't just get rid of any video. It was unbelievable. And you're just like, we need to open up the lots now. Long overdue. Hopefully this brings more people in too. But that's the headline of, to me, out of the email. The Dome's implemented a new point-of-sale system to further improve the fan experience. Handheld payment devices will be utilized throughout the building, which is cool, to decrease the amount of time fans are in the line. And a self-serve kiosk has been added to further enhance grab-and-go locations on the south and west concourses. That's also needed. If anybody ever goes down below at halftime, get food. Lines are crazy, so that'll help. So that's part of the new experiences that are coming for Bison football for 2025. Overnight tailgate, that's long overdue. Long overdue. We'll break. We come back. We'll head to the high school game. Jacob Holmen from Minot North will join us. The Sentinels with high expectations for 2025. We'll check in with them when Hot Mike returns on this Tuesday morning. We're back right after this. Beautiful Tuesday morning here. Hopefully the smoke can stay out for a bit, because we got teams practicing, not just football. We got golf going, soccer going. Hopefully I can stay away for a bit, but here we got another reprise coming later today. Mentioned as we started fall camp for North Dakota last Thursday, teams are well on their way for getting ready. The season begins for some in 10 days' time. We got games coming up on August the 22nd. Others will be starting a week after that. Our next guest is aiming for what could be a really, really special year out in Minot after a trip to the 2A state semifinals a year ago. Minot North has its eyes fixed on potentially a first trip to the Dakota Bowl. Head coach Jacob Holmen joins us this morning as the Sentinels are wrapping up practice and getting ready for the start of a fun 2025 season. It's great to see you, bud. We did this a few years ago when things were just getting off the ground, and now you're visiting off air. You've got seniors now. How different does that feel?
That's a big deal. We got 21 seniors right now on our team, which is a really good number for that AA level. And they're the guys who started this thing with us. So we don't know Sentinel football without those guys. We've already looked a little ahead to next year a little bit, and we can't picture it without them. But we're just going to enjoy the year with these guys, and we appreciate their leadership. They've come a long way since we started.
Just describe that, because I was hesitant with Harvey McMahon about that. We were out there their first day when they were at Legacy Middle School in West Fargo with 10, 11 guys. I remember we had you on your first day of starting it out, and now there are big expectations with this team. How special is that to go from that beginning to where you're at right now?
Yeah, that was a long process, but it came real quick.
Yeah.
That first practice back in 2022, we had 14 kids. And
Man.
those 14 kids were kind of wide-eyed, didn't know a lot about football, and now they're some of the smartest guys that I've been around. So that's just a testament to those guys and their willingness to learn. But they've come a long way. There were a lot of people outside our program that probably looked at us and said, these guys have a long road ahead. And we've had some success early, and it's a testament to the senior kids that we have right now who have bought into the weight room, bought into what we're preaching, and younger classes have followed their example very well.
Take away the experience part, the success part last year. How much does that change the feel of fall camp this year as opposed to this time last year?
I mean, we've talked, and we're trying not to let last year's success have a lot of impact this year. There's obviously high expectations because we got most of our guys back, but we're always going to have high expectations for our kids and just how they practice, how they conduct themselves. But yeah, we say that we're entitled to nothing, and that's a true statement for any sports team that there is, that you are entitled to nothing. You have to work for everything that you earn. And that's kind of our mantra. That was a little bit last year, but it's really our mantra this year, knowing that there are expectations, but we're just worrying about one day at a time.
You feel like you snuck up on guys last year, Jacob, on teams?
Maybe a little bit. I don't know if teams expected us to be as good as we were. But once we were on film, I think teams understood what we wanted to do, and we were going to try to run the football and all that. So maybe early on, but later on, I think we earned some respect as we played each and every game.
I'm ripping off the Band-Aid of last year. For your guys to see the team that you lost to won the whole thing, is that something you take solace in, or is that inspire? Like, all right, that team was really good, that we know where we got to get to if we want to win it.
Yeah, I think it gives you a measuring stick for sure. I wish we could play Horace again, actually, this year, just because I think we'd compete a little bit better. Last year, they were better than us, and they showed that the 2 times that we played them. But our guys got a taste of a big moment playing in a semifinal game. Getting to do it at home was a really special deal, too. But yeah, the environment's different when you're playing playoff football against a football team that maybe is a little bit better than you. You have to be on your game. So I think our older kids now understand that a little bit more.
In fact, you mentioned that you got a semifinal game at home. Just when you were talking about it, and you gave us the tour last year when you're on the show about what the atmosphere is like. You've built that up. How excited for this now that people come to games? This is a big deal to come to your team's games.
Yeah, for sure. There's a ton of excitement. Our students have rallied around our football team really well. We have an awesome group of parents who set up our booster program, and they're excited. I've gotten talked to. We only have 4 regular season home games this year. There's disappointment in that fact. Hopefully, we can go earn a couple more home games if we can find a couple in the playoffs. But yeah, it's a special field, special stadium, and that's all due to the people that show up and support our kids.
So on day 1 last week, is that where you talk outside expectations? Like, hey, everybody thinks you're going to be good. Is that where you quell that happened on practice 1?
I think I've been saying that since the end of last season, to be honest with you. I didn't have an awesome feeling during the winter off season. Not to say that our kids weren't working, but just my gut was saying we can't be satisfied with what we did this last year. And then we got into summer, and it's almost like a switch flipped for our kids, and they just put their heads down and went to work. And then that same thing just carried over into fall camp. So yeah, we talk about it a little bit, and I think they're starting to understand that it's so important to prepare, and every single day has a high level of importance for our kids right now.
We have visited often about the changing classes. 2A has undergone another makeover. You mentioned Horace is gone. We had Central Cass's Travis Lamar on yesterday. They're moving in. Kindred's moving in. How do you evaluate now what 2A looks like?
Yeah, I think it's deep with the addition of those 2 teams, and then Devil's Lake sliding over to the west.
Yeah.
They have a quarterback who we really respect. He's a really good player, but the youth of last year's teams will show up this year in their experience that they got. So like Dickinson was really young. St. Mary's has some kids that can play. So I think the depth of the 2A level has gotten deeper. I think that every team that you play is going to challenge you, and you can't take any team lightly in this level.
In fact, you got 2 on the road to start. You got to come here to Fargo to play South. Mm-hmm. What are the challenges of that to start the first 2 on the road?
Yeah, I actually don't mind being on the road right away, just to get two of them out of the way. But then there's more distractions at home than there are on the road. So last year, our first road trip was to Horace, and I didn't think we handled that long trip very well because our kids have never driven that far to play a football game.
Yeah.
So this year, going to Williston and then going to Fargo, I don't mind it just to get out of town and say, hey, this is a business trip. We're going to focus on playing the game of football. Nothing else matters right now, and then come back home and hopefully we can come back with a decent record and give it our best shot.
And the fact you get Red River coming there, Fargo North going to come to your place. You mentioned Devil's Lake. I mean, I imagine that could be a huge game, a big crowd-wise with Devil's Lake coming to town.
For sure, yeah. Every game's a big game, but I think the expectation of just playing our best football week in and week out. We don't look at necessarily who our opponent is. It's about us, and we respect every team. So we're going to prepare the best that we can and give every team our best shot.
Give us a couple guys that you mentioned the huge senior class, the ones you're going to be counting on. You're going to tell me everybody, but you got to single out a couple.
Yeah.
Give me a couple guys that if we don't have them, we're not going to be very competitive.
Yeah, I think first and foremost is our quarterback, Braden Blickery, very good football player. We're putting a lot more on his shoulders this year, just from a leadership standpoint. He has bought in more to the game of football. He's a basketball guy too, really good basketball player, but I think he sees that his future could be in football. So him, and then we've got our linemen back. So across the board, we have 6 guys that could probably start on any team right now.
Wow. So
they will be the biggest factor in our success, just running the football, stopping the run. But yeah, all of them are important to our team.
The overtures I've already heard, and I've heard on both sides of the state, is what's Minot North doing in this level? They should be up like Horace. How do you answer that right now?
I mean, I can see where they're coming from, but at the same time, you have to let programs get their footing. And we maybe got it a little quicker than some of the other schools, but I mean, look at what Horace did. Year 3, they're winning a state championship. So if people would have seen us play 3 years ago, they would have said, you guys need to be in the AA level because we were not very good. And our kids have bought in, but even after our seniors leave here, we only have like 15 juniors and 15 sophomores and 15 freshmen. So numbers are still a concern for the future. So I appreciate being in the AA level. I eventually would love to get up to the AAA level and play the best teams in the state. But you got to give programs time to find a little success and get their footing before forcing them up.
You feel the success you've had that might get more kids out? Has that translated, or you have not seen that yet?
I think it will start to. I don't know if our young kids fully understand that football starts as early as it does. So I'm hoping that we can get some sophomores and some freshmen that trickle in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun to win football games. There's an excitement and energy that comes with that. So hopefully if we can find a little more success, we can get the ball rolling on that and people will want to come out and play football.
For yourself, to be part of this from the ground level, I know I talked with Harvey about this, to see it grow in front of your eyes, how much fun or pride do you have in that you were there day one, that you've built this thing?
Yeah, it's a cool deal. And I'm just really, really fortunate to have people on our staff that have been with me from the start. So like my dad, Coach Rudolph, and Coach Ralph, we started this thing back in 2022, and we've added some really good coaches as well. But yeah, the journey has been fun. There's days when I look back and I think I would love to go back and do it all over again. But then there's other days where I think I'm so glad where we're at right now, where we can actually just worry about coaching football and not worry about strapping on a pad and fixing a helmet and just the little things that come with coaching younger kids. So yeah, it's been a really fun journey, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Is there like moments you have early on, like, hey, Minot's got another football team? Like, did you actively have like, hey, I didn't know there was a second high school team in Minot? Did you have that early on?
Yeah, I think when we were playing that JV schedule, there were people that were just oblivious that we were even in existence. When the school came and got built, I think it changed, but there's still a loyal following of Minot High people in town. And the old timers, it's going to be hard for them to accept the fact that we have 2 schools. But once kids and grandkids start to come, things change and people are all on board. So we're slowly adding supporters. We have great support, but it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to the 2 school system here in town.
I'll tell you what, you know what changes that? When you guys play Minot in football, then it's going to be different, man.
For sure. We're looking forward to that. We scrimmage them on Thursday. So even in our scrimmages, we get after it.
How's that going to go?
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. our senior class and our junior class, they actually went to school together for a year or two.
That's wild.
So they have good buddies across town. So it's a little bit unique, but when the whistle blows and the ball's set, we're going to go after each other. And we're going to try to get each other better, because when Minot football is good on both sides of town, everyone will benefit from that.
It's great to see you, bud. Thanks so much for the time. Good luck. I know we'll be talking throughout the season, and appreciate the time this morning, okay?
Appreciate it, Dom. Thank you.
Good to see you, man. Jacob Holmen, head coach at Minot North. The Sentinels open up their season August the 29th at Williston. They're coming here to Fargo to take on South. Mentioned they'll get North coming up there. They are one of the teams to beat. You look at what 2A looks like, and Kindred's got what we know what they have. Central Cass, I think, is going to be pretty darn good. I think you're interested to see what the Grand Forks schools. I'm really interested what Devil's Lake brings to the table now that they're out west. Jamestown, my guy Bill Nelson's team is always pretty solid. It's Minot North. I really believe that. I think they're the team to beat in 2A. They are on the same path that Horace was, and Horace won in year 3. This is year 3 for them for varsity football, and I think the breakthrough is going to happen. I would be really surprised if it doesn't. Just looking at what the 2A landscape is, it could, if it's Kindred and Minot North playing at the Dakota Bowl in mid-November, then you can say I got one prediction right finally. But we'll see. It's going to be dynamite to follow their team this upcoming fall. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up, get you ready for a busy Sports Tuesday. Got a couple other emails to get to, and more on the Bison tailgate changes that are coming for this upcoming year. Back to wrap things up after this. All right, wrapping things up here on this Tuesday morning. I'm already thinking ahead of tomorrow's show, which I think we're going to have more on the Bison plans there for the Fargo Dome. We'll do that tomorrow on the show. Also, we'll check in, I believe, with UND and our guy Terry Horan and a couple other high school coaches as well. With fall camp underway, we're doing our own fall camp tour on this show to get us ready for the upcoming high school football season. We got a couple emails after we put the news out on the overnight tailgate will be allowed. Fans will be allowed to set up. They won't be allowed to. You can't tailgate then, but you at least set up night before games from 4 to 7. Email comes in. Don, this helps, but doesn't solve the main issues to most. 1, will there be increased security overnight to prevent theft? 2, are they going to allow tailgaters to leave their vehicles or trailers overnight on Saturday and come and get everything on Sunday mornings? I think that's a hard no on the second one. I don't know the answer on the first. You know, the Dome that's city property up there. That's not NDSU's property. That's city property. So I don't know if the city is going to up patrols. That's something we can ask. Try to find out an answer on that. But to me, again, it's like 5 to 6 years too late, because I is up there as early as I am on game days. It's not there is certainly a line of people to get in. Like, I get there, our show is on the air at 10. I'm usually there 8:50, 8:55, don't tell Stace, to get into the Dome. So there is a long line of cars waiting to be let into the lot. So that will be alleviated for the people that are lining up at 6 a.m. Good friend of mine, I'll call him out, Tony Ambrose, who's hosted us several times. He's there. He tweets it out that he's there at 6:30 in the morning. That, to me, that's gone then. Hey, I can go get set up, leave it, set it and forget it. Then I can come back at whatever time, it opens up 6.5 hours for the game. I can get there at 9 o'clock and let's rock and roll. I think that alleviates that part. But it's not to the part of where the line was wrapping around streets. We're not there anymore. And for those that experienced it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We missed the boat on that. But this is the good first step. This is what big-time programs do. They set up the night before to get into the game for the next day. I'm really interested to see what the feedback is on that. All right, before we wrap, let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. What to Watch is brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. We appreciate their sponsorship of this and our show each and every day. We got Game 2 of the Twins and Yankees coming up tonight from Yankee Stadium, 6 o'clock on Twins TV for that one. We'll see how many more home runs are hit out after the Yanks hit 4 yesterday against Minnesota. We have the old hooded warrior, undecided, going for the Twins tonight. Carlos Rodon will pitch for the Yankees in that one. Big one in the WNBA tonight. Dallas Wings and Paige Becker take on the Indiana Fever, 6:30 on ESPN. Still no Caitlin Clark, and we have no idea when she's going to be coming back, dealing with that groin hamstring injury that she's missed a ton of time this season. So no sign yet of when she'll be back. Big one tonight on TBS as well. Two good teams, Cubs and the Blue Jays. Each are postseason bound, 6 o'clock on TBS. Our thanks to Jacob Holmen, to Rocky Larson, and Mike McFeely. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Enjoy a beautiful Tuesday, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow.